one of the problems many people make is they follow the path of their ancestors. And in most cases, our ancestors are flawed. They didn't behave in the best way. They had negative traits, negative tendencies. But too many people follow the path that existed before them. Me personally, I'm a chain breaker. I assess everything in my life, and I'm always weighing things out for good and bad, and then I adjust my life accordingly. As a parent, I try to instill the best advice I can give to my daughter. I behave in the best way I possibly can. And it's really important to me that she's just happy. I talk about it a lot. Like, I don't care about grades and things like that at school. It just doesn't bother me. It's not that I don't care about her. I just don't put much reliance on it. I've said to her myself, like, unless you have a specific industry you want to work in, it's not going to matter that much. I use this example. If you want to work in a museum, for instance, maybe you're going to need certain grades because you're going to need open doors, which will only be open through that education system. So you may need a qualification specifically to allow you that avenue. But for the most part, it'll be skill based. So you can actually elevate and upgrade through the jobs you do anyway. So just get a job and then you work your way up. You can do that. You look at my books, for instance. I've passed a college course, a university course. I've passed a college course and obviously finished school. But none of that I've learned has helped me with my books. I'd already written, I think it was 4 of the books before I finished. I did a university course. I didn't even finish the English one. I didn't even finish it. I passed an IT course about a decade before, and that didn't do me any good. I didn't need it. That didn't help me anywhere in career. I didn't pursue it. I never followed through with the degree because I realised how boring it was. I think back in 2022, I think it was. I think it's 2022. I think it's 2022. I was studying for an English degree, but by then, like I said, I'd already done like 4 or 5 books at that point. So it wasn't like I needed it. It was more like a test of self. But it was boring, and I thought I can't be doing this shit. I got too much to do. It wasn't anything. It was never going to provide anything, And the grades at school, I got a D in English. D in it. And I was laughing about it with my daughter recently. To be honest, I said to her, "Look, without being rude to people, but you might have your English teacher tell you this, this, and this, and this, and this." And they might say, "Well, you can't do anything if you don't get the right grades and things." But then you could argue, have any of those English teachers produced a book? Have any of them published a book? But yet they have the audacity to say you can't do this, you can't do that, and they're like the key holders to the English language. It's like, really? I got a D. I think I've done more with the English language than potentially they have. It's like the grade is irrelevant. You can do things yourself. That's what I'm getting at. And yet, when you look at your ancestors, they place so much importance on education, but it's forced upon education. I actually detest it. Growing up, this is what I'm saying. I'm far more relaxed with my daughter. I even tell her not to do her homework. I get actually pissed off with it. I hate it. I think, you know what? School has enough time with your children. Your children still need to be free. They shouldn't have so much stress placed upon them. If you can't educate, if children can't be educated within the hours of school, then don't expect to extend it in their home time because it's ridiculous. You end up doing school twice. And I think school once is bad enough. I think the stresses and strains they put on it, I don't think it's fair. The pressure's ridiculous. So I'm always like, I don't care. If you're gonna, she doesn't live with me. She's with her mum. If she was with me, I wouldn't encourage none of this shit, and I don't care what the teachers say. I really couldn't care less. If she was with me, and the teachers put her in detention for not doing homework, you can bet your ass I would go straight down there, and I would just walk through. I don't give a shit what the rules are. I would say, right, get out of my fucking way. I'm going after. I'm picking my daughter up. If they say, "Oh, you can't come through," I say, don't fuck with me. Do you know what I mean? With her, that's where we're going to draw a line. I'm going to be quite snappy, quite quick. I'd bash the door down if I have to. Do you know what I mean? Like, you coming home? We're not doing this shit. And the school would know I ain't pissing about. I expect her home. She's not a prisoner. You're not doing that shit with her. She's not in prison because you freaking want something from her that you should be able to do within your school hours. And I'm funny with that. I think it's ridiculous. She's not doing that shit. But if it's her choice to do it, then obviously, if she said, "I want to do homework, I want to do this," well, that's up to you. I'm just saying, no pressure from me. You do you. And and I watch other people, like, for instance, like say, in childhood, but my stepdad, he bought extra videos. Of course, he's thinking about our well-being and he's doing what he thinks is right. But it was too much pressure and it was so unfair. It was ridiculous. We was having to work through school, doing everything you have to do. You have to do the homework. And then me and my stepbrothers, we had to take it in turn for like an hour at a time each. We would have to play these videos, and there was like, and it was like more, it was like workbooks for maths and English. It was so freaking tedious. It was ridiculous. We just studied at school, and now you're coming home to do more studying on top of homework. It was like that was the lowest point. I just thought that doesn't work with me. It just pisses me off. You don't get anything out of me. I don't listen to the best of times anyway when people try and tell me what to do. I was always told to be more quiet at school, focus more. Never did. Never did. I didn't care. I just don't. I'm more of a free spirit. And I think you get more out of people when you value them, and allow them to make decisions for themselves too. But yeah, I think that extends to different areas of our lives. You can see how quite confrontational about things when I get passionate. But the funny thing is, as protective as I am of my daughter, when it comes to matters of the heart, I think it's really important that she learns for herself. I guide her to an extent. For instance, she does like someone, and I don't want to say too much because I don't know who sees what. But I did give her a little tip because I said, look, they might not know you. They might not think you want like apparently these two like each other. So I said to her, maybe just say like you can make it as a joke, like you can make it a little bit of a joke, like if they go to cinema together. I said you could just make it a joke. Go, oh, we on a date? Is this a date? If you was to say it like that as a joke, it's like you say no. And of course, I don't mess it up. You can laugh it off, and you don't have to that way go make it so serious like a proposal. But that got me thinking anyway. If she's in a relationship, how would I cope with that? Because you see so many parents, they all act like the tough guy. They all act tough, don't they? Especially the dads. Oh, I need to meet this guy. And I don't care about that shit. I trust my daughter to make her own decisions, and I expect her to be. And she's a good. I think she's a good judge of character. So it's not for me to assert anything that could cause any problems with a relationship. You don't want to intimidate someone to the point where they don't feel comfortable. What's the point of that shit? I don't want someone to feel uncomfortable. And when a relationship breaks up or there's arguments, it's like you have to let people grow into it. You can't protect them from everything. Unless it got physical, then we're going to draw a line and things are going to change rapid. If it's not a physical altercation, though, and it's just arguments, they have to learn. They have to learn that boundary. It can't be for you to get just because someone's arguing. We all have arguments. It shouldn't be a case of you're terrified to speak your mind to someone because they're going to call their family round. That's absolutely ridiculous. You have to be responsible for the circumstances you create. So, for instance, if she started dating someone and then she's like, oh, I'd like you to meet that person. It's like I would just want to meet them and just get to know them. That's all I'm interested in doing. I don't want to be too involved. It definitely wouldn't be any pressure from me. And that's how I am with people, though. I do try to put people's minds at ease when I meet them if I think they're going to be intimidated. So the first thing I would naturally say is like, I don't want you to be nervous in that. This isn't an interview. I'm just interested in meeting you. Really, it's just if she says she likes you, that's enough for me. The relationship is between you two. It's not between me at all. I'm just interested in who you are. Really, get to know you because she wants us to know each other. And that's how I would be. It'd be very relaxed. And there's no reason for me to be extended beyond that unless like something got really bad and it was physical. Other than that, people have to go through life themselves and have their own experiences in relationships. Because you got to put too many people that just try be heroes all the time. You got to think if the shoe was on the other foot. If you started dating someone, what sort of relationship do you want with that person? How much interference is too much interference? Should you feel like you can't speak up and say what's on your mind because as soon as they start getting upset, they throw a pity party, then they act like they're the victim, then they start over-exaggerating everything. So the point is you can't say anything to them about getting up. Some people can be really manipulative and go down a dark way like that. You shouldn't be encouraging that, But yeah, that's what got me thinking really about all the things, and I live by my own rule book pretty much. I make it up. As I go because I'm very good at analyzing things, and I watch behaviors and things, and I watch how people can be very manipulative. So there can be people that help you on your journey at certain stages, and you feel like you owe them something, or they'll make sure you think you owe them it, and they supported you through this. But a lot of times, sometimes people help you as a convenience to themselves. Let's say they're bored of their life, they know that they want a break, so they'll act like what they're doing is to support you, but really it's a break from their life. Then when you really need them at a moment when maybe they could do something else, they choose to do something else, that shows their character. So it shows they didn't really do it for you, they did it for themselves. So eventually it's about setting boundaries with people that are not really supporting you or providing any substance to your life. I talk about it a lot. I've blocked a lot of people from my life. I've set immense boundaries. Those that are closest to me, I'm not prepared to have jump on the bandwagon when I see success, for instance. It's not going to happen. I'll always compare it to this, regardless of money. It's irrelevant of money. It's more about who supported you when you had a dream. That for me is really important because it shows people's character. So, out of my family members, for instance, who purchased a book? Who bought one of my books and shared it with others to tell them about it? Not many. Not many. And yet I've gone on to do more books and none of them have invested in any of them. So, do they deserve to then reap the rewards in the future? Are they worth my time? Have they showed any sort of commitment to my life? And there's other things to do with this as well, bear in mind. So I've drawn a line and said, yeah, you're done, you're done, you're done. You can't talk your way out of it because I've seen too much. It's like you're either supporting or you're not supporting. And there's no point pretending later I'm not interested. You've shown me. You've shown me, you've shown me, you've shown me. You can't unshow me. So thank you very much. You're no longer in my life. That is, we've cut this tie, we've cut this tie, we've cut this tie. Now I'm more focused on building my own inner sanctum, my own personal family. And like I said, I intend to be I am a positive role model to my daughter. I get to see how she's developing, and she's incredibly grounded and stable. And she's a beautiful example of a human being. That's the most important thing. She doesn't let people walk through her. She doesn't let people disrespect her. She's patient with what it is she wants, so she doesn't just jump into situations for attention or for validation. She will literally she'll actually stay uncomfortable if it means her integrity is intact. She's very much a wonderful example of myself. Without, I didn't expect that of her. It's just we share a similar personality, but she still does things her own way. She's far more delicate than me because there's a recent issue she had to deal with, and I kid you not, it was incredible. She shared with me what she said in a message, and she said to me, which was quite nice. She said, when I get really angry, like when I really want to say something, I write paragraphs like you do. She normally keeps things short, and she hates me writing too much. She gets, that's too long, I'm not reading that. She's like that, stubborn. But recently, someone was causing gossip at school, and she messaged that person and pulled them up on everything. It was so beautifully written. I said I would add a few bits. If that was me, I'd probably added a few bits. She's like what? I'd have said, well, like, you can stay away from me now. We've got nothing in common. You've shown me who you are. Just keep the hell away from me. Don't want anything to do with you. I'd probably put that at the end. And maybe fuck off at the end. And she was like, I can't do that. It caused too much trouble. I said, well, your environment, there's not much you can do, is there? You are limited. You did the best with the circumstance, for sure. But that's what I am. I just want to cut things off if it's not serving. It's just that I'm not leaving room for people to manipulate and wiggle their way around. It's like, no, if it's done, let's end it. I'd rather piss you off a bit so you feel attacked, so then you don't try and wiggle anymore. Because if people feel like you've attacked them, they don't want nothing to do with you anyway. So it's like sometimes it's easy to do that, rather than go peacefully and do it all beautifully, like amicably, like that. If they've shown you a reason to distrust them, and they've been gossiping about you and doing all these things. Like for instance, we're talking about it here now. My sister's done the same bloody thing. I had an issue with her. I called her lazy. There was a few personal situations, and rather than like deal with it between me and her, she then sends a screenshot of one of my books, which I can't remember the context. I don't know which book she screenshot or what page. Again, I couldn't give a shit. If it's in my book, then I meant it. If it happened, it happened. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to rewrite history. I genuinely don't give a shit. If people take exception, it's like, I don't care. If I said it, I meant it, and I'll stand by it. I don't know what part you're referencing, but yeah, okay, I said it. I'll take ownership, whatever. So what she did, took a screenshot and then sent it to my other sister. And I'm sure it's taken out of context, but I can't even be bothered to defend myself because none of them bothered to buy the books. My sister just took a screenshot of a sample. So like I could try to reach out to my other sister and say, oh, it's not like that. It's not like that. But in the back of my mind, I think I couldn't even give a crap what you think, in all honesty, because regardless of whether she'd done that, I was already fed up anyway because you hadn't bought my book. If they'd read the book, they'd understand the context when the other party tried to turn them against me. But they never invested in me anyway. So like, really, what they think of me is irrelevant. I can't even bother to defend myself. It's like, yeah, think what you want, couldn't give a shit. But the point is, one of my sisters has gone out of her way to try to turn someone against me. So even if some, I don't know, some sort of healing took place and you started to forgive people. There's no way I'm forgiving her. She showed me the full depth of her character. I didn't like her when I went ways. To be that vindictive and try and turn people against you is like that's another level of shit, isn't it? It's like no. You're just pure evil. You're just nasty. That's just spiteful. I don't want that around me. Literally, you went so far to try to destroy me to other people, trying to ruin other relationships because you couldn't handle the situation on your own. So you try to involve other people. So, I don't want none of that shit. And what it is, my daughter sees me handle situations and she gets to see that, it's okay to stand alone. It's okay to stand in your divinity and say, look, I am worth more than this. And I'm only interested in having the best relationships and the best people around me. I'm not interested in having all this crap, because people smile to your face and talk behind your back. Why do you want like that? People like that around you. And yet the one thing I've always been told throughout my life is family sticks together. Family is so important. And I spent a majority of my life with that motto. I put up with everything because I felt that was the right thing to do, because nothing was more important. And then as I've gone on my journey and I've watched the lack of support around me, and I've started to assess people on an individual basis rather than with the blindfold of their family, I started to recognize this person isn't worth my time. This person isn't worth my time. Take away the title of family and like, who are they? They're called, they're cretins. They're horrible people. My mum says that. She says, well, it's not nice to say that. I say, well, it's not nice, but it's true. And she knows how headstrong I am. She knows I won't budge. And she knows I just don't care what people think of me. So I laugh. I just laugh when I find out information. I just always laugh. And she just knows out of all of us, I'm the most headstrong. It literally doesn't faze me at all. Whereas the others will, they get emotional, they get upset, and they maybe even cry about it. And I'm like, it's done. It's done. Because I'm very much like black and white. It's like there are not many grey areas with me. It's like you're either a nice person or you're not a nice person. So what one are you? And then once I've made my mind up, it's like there's no reason for me to get emotional about it, is it? It's yes, we're different people. We don't have the same morals. That's fine. You're of this. You're over here. I'm over here. Don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. Cut the ties. Time is too short. I don't have enough hours in a day to waste it with people who have not nice people. And that's just simple as that. So you'll find that people do gravitate towards success, though. I'm expecting that when I see success, I'm expecting people to come out of the woodwork, all of a sudden want to invest, want to support. And it's like, wait a minute, didn't support me when I was struggling. If I'd continued struggling, you wouldn't have come from the woodwork. You wouldn't have reached out. So you're only going to reach out because you can see an opportunity. Well, ain't that funny? Do I look like an idiot? And again, my daughter sees all this and I impart it on her, so she gets to be just as strong and resilient. And again, it goes against a lot of what I'm taught. I am my own thinker. My daughter will interpret things in her own way. She'll be her own version. She might look and think, well, you're a bit too, I won't say opinionated, but a bit too direct. She might think, well, you cut ties too quick, or you're too assertive with that, but eventually you learn though. Like she might, because I wouldn't be surprised if she tries to be a bit more lenient with people. But it's only when people have done you wrong enough times do you start getting more assertive. So she might try to be a bit more diplomatic with people, but it's once she's been through enough things in life, you start to realize it's no point wasting time with that tiptoeing with people. You don't owe them anything. You don't need to bring people on the journey. You don't have to do any of that. You know, it's like, yeah, that might make them feel better, but what does it matter? Just cut the tie and move on. Just get on with life. Life's too short to have baggage everywhere. And that's where I'm at. It's like you can't be successful with a load of people weighing you down all the time. But like I say, I look at life in a very unique way, I think, and it's like I don't think anyone could really second guess what I'm going to do next or how I'm going to think next, um, because I don't know if another version of me exists. In all honesty, but I'm confident in my path. I'm confident in who I am. I'm confident in how I assess things and the decisions I make. I'm not someone that second guesses too much. I don't doubt myself. I don't have regrets. I never look back with a regret. Because I know if I made a decision, there was a reason to it, and it doesn't matter what someone tries to manipulate and say after it. It doesn't change anything in my mind. It doesn't matter if time goes on and it starts to get a bit blurry. It's like I know that there was a reason, otherwise I wouldn't have said it like that. I wouldn't have done that. Um, I'm not above myself to apologize. But like I say, rarely do people deserve an apology. So it's what it is. We have to hold high standards in our life, and it's like go after your dreams as well. Like I talk about that a lot. Like So don't make excuses as to why things can't work, and don't let people tell you can't achieve something. Again, most people in my life are self-defeating. They're not ambitious. They think certain things are impossible, and it's only impossible because you don't commit the time and resources to do something. It's like believe in yourself. You should be your biggest believer above everyone anyway. So when someone says like you can't do that, it's like no, maybe you can't, but watch me. If you want to watch, yeah, I don't really care because I'm not watching everybody else. I'm just doing my own journey. That's the thing. I'm just like beating to my own drum, just getting on with things. If people are watching from the shadows, then they'll watch from the shadows. But it's like I'm not watching them from the shadows. So you're better off just getting on with your own life and just assert yourself. Um, and you maybe people regret certain things in the future, but it's like, I talk about this a lot. Like someone may regret something and they may want to apologize, but they don't get to pick and choose who comes back. Just because someone else wants you back doesn't mean they get you. I don't owe anyone anything, and I don't want to live in the past. So I have no interest. So it's like I hope you heal, I hope you have a good life, and I hope things improve. But it won't be with me in it, and that's just as simple as that. It's black and white. It's black and white. I would have more than invested in people had they been on my journey and they show commitment. There's even people I've met in the interim where I thought, you know what? If I'm successful, I'm going to help you. You're good people. And then they abandoned me anyway. And it's like, if they try coming out of the woodwork later, it's like, wait, no, you abandoned me during a period where I could have done with your help. You abandoned me. Again, I'm not having that, where people just come in right at the end after you've put in all the hard work and you've sacrificed so much. And then all of a sudden they want to reap the reward. It's like, no, 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 no. That's not how life works. You have to create your own success. So I'm not a selfish individual at all, but I do have a lot of integrity. I do hold people accountable, and it's really in the same way people should hold me accountable too. You know, I'm all right being on my own. I'm all right being on my own. So it takes very special people to come with me. And like I say, I teach my daughter to be very self empowered too, and she is, and but she's got a little community of friends now, and it's great. And it's something she didn't have for a long time. It's been beautiful watching her grow into that. You know. And she'll make her own decisions and she'll learn from them. So I can only guide to a point, and then she has to implement and learn for herself too. So she'll have her own opinion of the world, and it's not for me to force my will on her. It's just give her my opinion on things, but allow her room to grow. And that's how I am with her. I'm not forceful. I'm not forceful at all. Because I want her to be able to cope without me. That's a really important thing, isn't it? It's like if you're too heavily reliant on someone, you can have a problem when they're not there. So I need her to just, I need to be strong and resilient around. And I recognized that a few years ago. I just looked and thought, I need you to be strong. And I know you can be. And watching her flourish has been absolutely beautiful. Doesn't mean I'm not there. Doesn't mean she can't lean on me when she needs me. But it's been beautiful watching her grow, to be totally honest. Um, and hopefully, in all honesty, hopefully she becomes a better version of me. Because that's what we should be acquiring, striving for. We shouldn't be striving. She always says that to me, like, I want to be just like you and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, but I just want you to be you. That's the thing. I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be you. That's really important to me. So you can learn effectively. You should be learning the things to do and the things not to do, and then adjust your life accordingly. But from your own experiences and what you witness. So it shouldn't be a case of I've got all the answers and you're just going to mirror me. That's not the answer at all, is it? The answer is to figure it out for yourself. And it's like use all those little pieces of wisdom to make decisions. But again, you bear the consequence of those decisions, don't you? So you can't sort of like play high and mighty, and then all of a sudden you feel sorry for yourself. It's like, there's consequences. One way or another, there's consequences.